The clock on the break room wall read 12:14 p.m. I had exactly one bite of my turkey club left when Marcus, the regional director of logistics, strode in. He didn't look at me. He looked at his watch. "You're 4 minutes late, David," Marcus said, his voice carrying that flat, nasal tone that usually preceded a budget cut. "My break started at 11:45, Marcus. The line at the deli down the street was backed up," I replied, setting the sandwich down. "An explanation is just a dressed-up excuse," Marcus said, leaning against the vending machine. "The company policy states 30 minutes sharp. We operate on precision. If you can't manage a simple clock, you can't manage my database architecture. Pack your things. Today is your last day." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. I was the senior database administrator. I had built the entire cloud infrastructure for his department from the ground up over 5 years. I worked 60-hour weeks, skipped vacations, and answered emergency calls at 3 in the morning. And now, I was being fired over 4 minutes on a Tuesday afternoon. "Are you serious?" I asked. "Dead serious." "Security will escort you out in 20 minutes, Marcus said, turning on his heel. The anger hit me first, hot and sharp, but by the time I walked back to my desk, the anger morphed into cold, calculating clarity. Marcus was a suit. He understood spreadsheets, KPIs, and corporate jargon, but he didn't understand technology. More importantly, he didn't understand people. He thought every employee was a replaceable cog in his machine. He was about to find out what happens when the cogs decide to leave together. I sat at my desk and opened our internal team chat. I didn't blast a dramatic public message. Instead, I opened a private group chat with Sarah, our lead developer, and Elena, the senior data analyst. Marcus just fired me for being 4 minutes late returning from lunch. Sarah's response was instant. "You're joking." Elena followed right after. "Please tell me this is a bad prank." "No joke," I replied. "Security is coming for me in 15 minutes. But remember that boutique consulting firm that approached us last month? The one that wanted to hire our entire team as a package deal? 3 months prior, a rival logistics firm had reached out to me. They were desperate for a ready-made data team to build their new platform. They offered 30% higher salaries, full remote flexibility, and a sign-on bonus. At the time, we stayed out of loyalty to our project and our team dynamic. But Marcus had just destroyed that loyalty with a single sentence. Sarah typed, "I'm in. I've been looking for an excuse to leave this toxic pit anyway. If you go, I go." Elena added, "Me too. Without you to manage the pipeline, my analysis is useless here. Let's do it." We had a pact. If one of us walked, we all walked. While the security guard waited at the end of the hall, I didn't touch the company servers. I didn't delete files. I didn't corrupt databases. Sabotage gets you sued. Absolute compliance gets you revenge. I simply downloaded my personal files, wiped my browser history, and logged out of my accounts. Before I stood up, I sent a quick calendar invite to the rival firm's hiring director for a call at 3 p.m. As I walked out of the building carrying a cardboard box of my belongings, Sarah and Elena were already drafting their resignation letters. By 2:30 p.m., they had both quietly submitted their 2-week notices via email, citing a sudden shift in departmental leadership culture. They didn't stop there. Our junior developers, Toby and Maya, found out within the hour. Toby was a brilliant kid I had mentored, and Maya practically ran our API integrations. When they realized the senior staff was migrating, they panicked. They knew Marcus would dump all my workload onto them without a dime of extra pay. By 4 p.m., Toby and Maya submitted their resignations too. By the end of the business day, Marcus's core data and logistics department had ceased to exist. 5 people, representing the entire technical brain trust of the division, walked out the door. The timing could not have been more perfect. The following Monday was the scheduled launch of the new global supply chain tracking system. It was a multi-million-dollar project that Marcus had been bragging about to the executive board for 6 months. On Friday afternoon, the rival firm officially hired all 5 of us as a cohesive consulting team. We received our signing bonuses before our official final day at the old company. Monday morning arrived. I woke up at 9 a.m., made a fresh cup of coffee, and sat on my balcony in my sweatpants. My phone, which I had kept synced to my old company email just until my notice period officially cleared, began to vibrate uncontrollably. At 9:15 a.m., the main database server suffered an automatic security lockout. It was a standard safety protocol that triggered every 90 days. To unlock it, someone needed to rotate the master cryptographic keys and re-authenticate the API endpoints. It was a 10-minute job for me, but to anyone else, it looked like ancient hieroglyphics. Marcus tried to call my personal phone at 9:30 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. At 9:45 a.m., he texted, "David, urgent. The launch platform is completely down. The board is on the line. I need the master access overrides immediately." I replied with a short, polite text. "Hi, Marcus. As per company policy, my access credentials were terminated upon my firing last Tuesday. I no longer possess the authorization to interact with company servers. Best of luck with the launch." 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. This time it was the Vice President of Operations. I answered. "David, thank goodness," the VP said, his voice tight with panic. "The entire global tracking platform is offline. Marcus says the system crashed, and the whole team resigned out of nowhere. What is going on?" "I was fired last Tuesday, sir," I said calmly. "Marcus terminated me on the spot because I returned from my lunch break 4 minutes late. The rest of the team chose to resign afterward." A long, heavy silence stretched over the phone line. I could hear the VP taking a very deep breath. 4 minutes? "Yes, sir. 34 minutes instead of 30. David, if I double your previous salary and offer you Marcus's position as director, can you have the system online by noon?" I smiled, looking out at the morning sun. "I appreciate the offer, sir, but my entire team and I have already accepted positions elsewhere. We start next week." The launch failed. The company lost an estimated $2 million in delayed shipping contracts over the next 48 hours. According to an old colleague who still worked in marketing, the executive board held an emergency meeting that afternoon. Marcus was escorted from the building by the exact same security guard he had sent to my desk. He wasn't fired for being 4 minutes late. He was fired for being entirely obsolete.